Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 12, Episode 55, overall 660 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with the great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. And speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet, we're in full winter here with the snow, the cold temps. And if you're looking for quality winter tires, check out the service department at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership. Greg, Sarah, Lisa can assist you with getting the right winter tires for your vehicle. And also with the cold temps here, the minus 15, minus 20, they can be hard on your car battery. So right now at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, bring your vehicle in, and then if you have a 12-volt battery, they'll do a free 12-volt battery charge test. And if you happen to need a new battery, they will give you a $20 instant rebate as well. And most batteries with 12-volt batteries in vehicles, gas-powered vehicles, normally last between 3 and 5 years. So if you're between 3 and 5 years and you want to have a peace of mind, get yourself a free battery test, 12-volt at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership. And again, Greg, Sarah, and Lisa, those fine folks in the service department, can help you as well. Good afternoon, everybody. On this Monday, February 9th, 2026, chilly minus 17 here in Southern Ontario, and the day after Super Bowl 60. Seattle wins 29-13 over New England. Seattle wins their second Super Bowl, and New England loses their sixth Super Bowl. And it was nice to see a running back win the MVP in Kenneth Walker, 27 carries for 135 yards. So Seattle wins the Super Bowl. Looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to my guest today. This is her first appearance on our show, and I connected with her through TikTok, and her name is Mahalia Long. She's a 23-year-old journalist, storyteller, and the founder of LongStory Shorts TV out of Toronto, and she's a former basketball player as well. And we're going to bring on Mahalia Long right now. Hello. I apologize for that.
No problem.
I'm just trying out some new things on StreamYard for my guests, and I hit the wrong one. So I apologize for that. But I want to say thank you so much, Mahalia, for coming on here today. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here on your show. I've seen a lot of your content, and I love it. So thank you.
Well, it's the guests that make a great show, and I'm just very lucky. And this is something I have a passion for, and I can tell how much you have a passion for LongStory Shorts TV as well.
Yes, I do. I definitely enjoy doing what I do.
Now, did you get a chance to watch Super Bowl 60 last night?
Yes, I did. I did watch it. My stepfather is actually from Seattle, so I was rooting for Seattle, and I'm happy that they won.
I'm not a fan of either team, Seattle, because I'm an Philadelphia Eagles fan, and New England. But you know what? I guess I kind of was rooting for Seattle because New England has been to 12 Super Bowls. They've won 6 of them, and they came out of nowhere this year. And Sam Darnold is kind of like a journeyman quarterback who's been tossed aside, and he never gave up. And he did enough. He did enough to win that game last night, and it was nice to see a running back finally win an MVP, because normally it's the quarterback.
Quarterback is always winning. Exactly. It was so fun to watch. I wish it was probably a little bit more of a competition there. Like, that if New England tried a little bit more, because then that would have made this like a more feeling of a Super Bowl. But I still enjoyed it, and I'm happy that Seattle won.
Yeah, New England made the game closer in the fourth quarter, but it was really out of hand by the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Seattle's defense is really good, and they had 6 sacks and 3 turnovers. And Drake
Yeah.
May had a good second year, but he was kind of overmatched against Seattle. But no football now until the CFL starts up in May.
So it starts up in May. So we'll look forward to that, and hopefully the Argonauts do well.
I do some freelance media coverage of the Argonauts for the last 4 years, so maybe we'll see you at BMO Field or even in Guelph, where they have their training camp starting in May.
Yes, that's exciting.
So have you dealt with the Argos before for media?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I aspire to one day.
Okay, because if you're interested, just let me know and I can put you in touch with their manager of media communications.
Okay, great. Yes, I will.
So
That's
I
awesome.
try to pay it forward, but hey, I want to say congratulations, and you've transitioned from a basketball player into now a journalist, storyteller, and
Yes.
the founder of LongStory Shorts TV. Can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so everyone, hello. I'm Mahalia Long. I'm a journalist. Before I was a journalist, I was an athlete. I played basketball for about 12 years. I played at different levels. At the university level, I played at University of Winnipeg. During that time, though, it was COVID, so I did not get to compete, unfortunately. I played at Seneca College. And in my high school years, I played at Bill Carruthers Secondary School, which is a prep school in Markham. And through all my years of playing basketball, I've learned a lot. And I've always had interest in all sports, but basketball has been my passion for many years. Due to injury, though, I had to transition my career in a sense where I wanted to commit to doing basketball for years, like overseas, maybe going to the NCAA, but I have a torn ACL twice, so that stopped me. Yeah, and then I recently got a torn meniscus, so I had to, talk to myself and say, okay, I love the sport, but it does not seem that the sport loves me as much as I thought it did. So I had to think about what else I like to do, and in school I took journalism, and before that I did take psychology and sociology, which I enjoyed as well, but I felt more of a connection with journalism because I love sports and I love talking to people about sports, and not just about sports, just anything, politics, whether especially just telling people a story that's going on in our city, locally, international and nationally, and just getting to know more about a story. And so I took journalism for 2 years and I graduated. And so now I've decided to start my own business, which is LongStory Shorts. And it's basically a journalist page where I can tell people stories with the short amount of information in the short amount of time. And the reason why I chose this is because my last name is Long, if you guys do not know. And so I came up with long story short, meaning I'm telling you a story with my name. It might be a long story, but I'm keeping it short for you. And I understand that we're in this society where people do not always watch TV and watch news at CB24 or CBC on TV as much. I'm not saying that we don't do it, but not as much. So I've tried to adapt into a way where I could get the news to people in an easier way. We love to scroll on TikTok. We love to scroll on Instagram, Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn, anything, right? So I decided to think of a way to get the story to people while keeping it in a short form. And if they would want to know more about the situation or about the story, they can always research it. But that's already planting a seed for them to start knowing more about that story. So that's who I am. And I love what I do. And it's a year now in LongStory Shorts, almost exactly a year. I started like February 16th.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's going good so far. And I just hope that in the next year or two, I can start something new or something different. So yes, that's me.
One thing I've learned about media too, the last 6 years since I switched careers too, is everybody's attention spans has shrunk. So if you do 30-second, 15-second videos, you seem to get more views. And I also got to continue to learn about all the trends nowadays too.
Exactly. And it's crazy because a lot of people do like long story content as well, but I find, like you're saying, the short form content can get people there, and they like to see that in a short form. They don't want to always stand there and watch a 10-minute video. 30 seconds, if you can get everything into that video in 30 seconds, it's harder than actually doing a longer story, because for a longer storytelling, there's a lot more over explaining. There's a lot more telling different sides of the story, which is okay, but some people just want to know the main facts about the story and why it happened and where it happened and so on and so forth.
How much of an impact did your being an athlete and a basketball player have on you being in media? Like, what did you learn from being a basketball player and transitioning into media side?
Great question. So I played basketball, and the thing I understand about sports is that there's a lot of emotion that goes into it. And so one thing that I could say that journalism that has similarity with sports, or specifically basketball, is that people like to evoke emotion, right? And so for basketball, I was a competitive player, so getting to the other team to get the game close and seeing how excited we're getting if we're winning, or if the game is a big distance, or if we're beating a team by 20 points, for example. When you want to tell that story of a game, for example, we talk about the game that happened yesterday, and Seattle was up from the beginning of the game, and the momentum was down for the New England. It was good to see how the coaches, exactly their emotion and and how much it played a part into how the game played on. And so for me, being a journalist and telling that story of like how hard New England was trying, maybe not towards the beginning of the game, but towards the end of the game, it shows how much of an impact being a journalist and being a athlete plays a big role in my life, because I can understand how those players feel, especially being down, right? But at the same time, maybe there's so much more behind that. It could have been their preparation, how they were in the change room, what occurred in the change room, were they working as a team, were they focusing on the wrong things? And so that plays a big part into how the game played out and how important it is to tell a story.
What position did you play, and how tall are you?
Okay, so I'm 5'6". I'm a 5'6" guard. I did play I played the shooting guard, and I played small forward. I wasn't really a point guard like that. I could have been, but I wasn't too good with my handles, and so I was more of a slasher. Go to the net, get some N1s, shoot here and there. But I was an aggressive defensive player as well. So I like getting steals. I like the intensity of getting a steal and getting a basket. So that was me.
What's one word to describe yourself as a basketball player?
I would say sacrifice. I would say sacrifice. And I say that because I'm the type of player that I like doing things for the team. I'm not a selfish player, so everything that I'm doing is for the benefit of my team and not just for myself. So I'm the type of player that would just dive on the floor and get that ball for my teammate to get a basket. So that's who I was. Definitely someone who would sacrifice a lot, sacrifice my body, and that's hence why I have so many injuries too.
How much of an impact did your coaches and your teammates have on you, and how much did you learn from them?
Oh, that's a good question. So I've played with a lot of players. I've played a lot of players who are in NCAA, and who are in the WNBA as of right now. But I've learned so much because I had female coaches and male coaches, and what I would say is that every coach has taught me something. Certain coaches taught me how to be respectful, especially how much respect is so important in basketball. Some coaches taught me how important hard work is, because it doesn't matter how good of a player you are, if you don't have hard work, then it's kind of hard for you to be successful in anything. And so a lot of my coaches played at a high level. Some of my coaches have not played basketball at all, but they focus and study the game so long that they understand how important it is for a player to be successful, and anyone can be successful. Just matters how much work you put into it, how much time you put into it, and that you also focus on your education as well, because education is so important in school. And I think what goes on a lot now in our days is that, especially my age group, because I'm 23, I find that many people, they finish their 4 years of high school or college or university, and they finish and they don't know what they want to do next. So I think it's very important that even while you're playing your sport, whether it be basketball, soccer, football, it's so important to find that thing in school that you're focusing on, whether or not you're taking that program or not, but you have a plan, and that you and that you continue to work on that craft that you have outside of your sport, because once it's all done, you want to have something for yourself. You don't want to feel like, okay, basketball was my whole life. And so that's something that I was very stern on myself with, that even though I love the game, I had something that I enjoy doing and that I could walk into when I'm done with my sport. So my coaches taught me a lot about that, and I continue to help other athletes and other students understand that.
Mahalia, I wanted to get your thoughts on this too, being a student athlete. Now in the States now, they all get paid. Before it was you get the education paid for 4 years. Now these schools are paying these guys tons of money. How do you feel about student athletes getting paid big bucks like they are doing in the States with the NCAA?
Um, I have two feelings about it. A part of me feels like it's a good idea because um, now students don't have to, or student athletes don't have to wait until getting to the WNBA or NBA to get paid. Um, and it's good because they do work hard. They do put in a lot of time into their craft, and it's deserving for some athletes, I would say. But at the same time, I feel like it takes away from the excitement of getting to that goal, getting to the WNBA or getting to the NBA and getting paid that money, because there's so much there's so much more that they have to work for before, but now it's so much easier to get paid. And so a lot of players I find who are getting the NIL contracts and getting paid at the NCAA level, they don't even want to go for more. They don't want to go higher than just college basketball. And I kind of think it just takes away from the excitement of trying to get more than just that. So that's how I feel about it. I feel like there's so many pros and cons to it, but for the most part, I'm not really a fan. But I will say that for some players, I think that they deserve to get paid for their sport and their performance. So yeah. How do you feel about it?
It doesn't see, I'm all for the students getting a full scholarship, getting all their education paid for, but to pay them millions of dollars, it's turning it into professional. And
Exactly.
I do agree they should be able to get paid a little bit of money. Maybe I don't know, like I don't know, $500 a month or 1,000 a month,
Yeah.
but to pay them like millions of dollars, it's turning it into professionalism, a
Yeah.
pro
Yeah.
sport. So that's just my opinion on it. I was going to ask you as well. Who were some of your early influences and mentors that kind of helped shape you?
Early influencers and mentors. So there's this guy named Miguel Pontenciano. He is a journalist as well, but he focuses more on the video and camera. And so I worked with him. And so he always seen that I was a journalist, and I had the work ethic to aspire a lot of my goals. And he's taught me so much about media and how much journalism plays a big role into everything that we do. And he's taught me a lot about how important it is to make connections, like having a connection with you, Chris, you reaching out, how important it is to reach out and not always wait for that someone to come to you. You have to reach out to people to get the things that you want, to make those connections, to get, for example, getting ads and stuff like that. So he's taught me a lot. And another thing is, like, my coaches, they taught me a lot as well. But in terms of like life and goals, and especially for this business, long story short, Miguel has taught me a lot. So
Connection networks are huge, and I've been doing this for a while, and I've had a lot of successes, but I've also had a lot of no's and setbacks. I tell people no is just a temporary setback, and then I've had some people I think have gotten jealous or skeptic of me, but everything I've had to work for it. And it doesn't matter how talented you are, if you're not willing to have passion and to work hard and to reach out to people, you won't make it in this industry.
I agree. Like, journalism is this industry is one where you have to really try for yourself. Like, you have to keep it trying. Even if you want to get that job, you have to keep reaching out. Follow-ups are very important as well. And I noticed how even when you were emailing me, you didn't just leave it at just, okay, thank you for getting back to me. I hope you said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna follow up, send you the link, and that's very important to keep that relationship even though you didn't even have that interview yet or that call yet, to make sure that that person understands that you're serious and you definitely want to have this. And so I appreciate that for you as well, and I can see that's a journalistic style that you have as well. So
Well,
that's good.
yeah, and I love it. And I was in corporate security for almost 25 years, and it was time at the end. And I think that career in security kind of prepared me for this because I had to learn how to speak. I had to learn to listen. I had to learn to think on my feet. And working in security, you deal with all walks of life.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't take broadcast journalism, I was in an environment where I was dealing with thousands of people every day in different situations. And I think it did help my public speaking skills as well. Because I used to be shy and hate being in front of a camera. I was always the last guy in school to go up
Yeah.
in front of the classroom. And now at 53, I've reinvented myself.
That's amazing. And I would say the same thing too when I first started off, especially journalism. I chose that because I was someone that was shy. I wouldn't say I'm too shy now, but I found that because I liked stories, that would be a way to help take that shy side out, and it worked. And I actually regret so much of my time that I've lost just not being talkative, not wanting to know more about people, because I've learned so much in these past 3 years of journalism, and I'm so proud that I'm doing this and that there's so many other journalists in this world that are, especially in Canada, that are just trying to reach for their goals and trying to do their own businesses as well, which is very important.
Do you find empathy and listening skills, which are huge in media, do you find empathy and listening skills have kind of shrunk these days?
Yes, I definitely think it's very important. And for me, my main thing is listening before you respond, because sometimes we just listen to respond rather than listening and taking in what they're saying and responding to what they're saying. And what I will say is that when you listen to someone's story, and you hear a feeling, right? That can always follow up to your next question or could follow up to your next response. When you hear someone say a major thing in their response, which could be something super powerful, maybe off topic, but that could lead up to another conversation. And so I think it's very important to listen to what people are saying, because there's so many different ways you could respond. For example, one question could lead to so many different responses. And I feel that as now in our society, many people, they just take one thing that someone says and run with it rather than getting the whole grand scheme of things and saying, okay, this is why they said this, or to asking them questions based on what response they were that they said. So I definitely think it's a big thing to do for us, especially as journalists, to make sure that we're listening to what people are saying and they're feeling and why they said that, and then responding to that. And I think that we need to work on that more as journalists. Just listening to what people are saying, asking them why they think that way, why they feel that way, and then responding.
I did have Eric Smith on from the Toronto Raptors 5 years ago, and Chuck Swirsky, who used to do the Raptors game now with Chicago Bulls. They gave me some good advice, and I was shocked they came on my show. I
Yeah,
reached out to them, and they came on, and they said, "Chris, it's okay to write points and notes down, but
yeah,
don't have a scripted conversation. People don't
exactly.
want to listen to scripted." So I learned from Chuck and Eric, and also I also learned from Chuck and Eric and Jerry Howarth, who used to be the Blue Jays radio guy too. Listening skills are probably even more important than talking, because if you're focusing on looking down at a piece of paper and all your prepared stuff, you're not really listening to your guests. So those gentlemen I just mentioned have a huge impact on my career.
That's amazing. And I agree, because when you have job points, at least if anything, you could always go back to those and start a conversation with that. But when you have a whole script, you're most likely not going to go through that, because the conversations change
Yeah.
and it will always go a way that you probably didn't anticipate it to go. So,
I've learned how to think on my feet, and also I've learned to have a conversation that's national flowing. And
yeah.
sometimes I do prepare stuff, but a lot of the time the questions I prepare, I don't use half them.
I agree. I agree. I had the questions there, and then maybe something that I say or you say might evoke another question that I want to ask instead of that question I probably had. So I agree.
Mahalia, before we get into some more media questions here, what was one of your most memorable basketball games, and what was the story behind your number 13? Was there a story behind 13?
Okay, yeah. So the story behind 13. My favorite player was called George at a time, and so when he was 24, that was my number. And then when he became 13, I switched my number to 13. My favorite player is Paul George because I feel like my playing style was similar to his, in terms of being athletic, driving, getting an N1. Like that was how I seen him to be. Also a defensive player, getting steals and shooting here and there. So that's why I had that number. I will say though, I probably feel like I should have switched my number a bit because I think that number just had something on it. Like I got injured in this number in high school and I got injured in this number in college. So I don't know. But my most memorable basketball game I would say was my senior year in college. That was actually my last game playing, and it was crazy because I didn't know that that was going to be my last game because that's when I injured myself. But it was an awesome game. I got many points. I got steals, and I was the captain of that year of my team during that year. And so I learned so much. I've taught so many athletes on just how to work hard and how to be a good teammate. And so that game was an awesome game for me. I received flowers. I received a plaque, and yeah, rookie of the year. I got the year before, so it was awesome. Yeah.
Have you thought in the future about becoming a coach have you thought about becoming a coach in the future, and how much has women's basketball evolved over the years, especially in Canada?
So I definitely thought about being a coach, and I do think I want to be a coach, especially this summer, because um, like I said, I played at a high level. I played at many levels, and I think I have so much to teach. My younger sisters, they play basketball as well, so I do train them on the side, and I come to their games. But if I do not become a coach, I do want to be just a sideline reporter for younger athletes, and because I feel like now in our society we have many people who are reporters and stuff, or sideline reporters for big leagues and the NHL, NBA, WNBA, but I don't see any sideline reporters for younger kids or high school athletes. Yes, we probably still have writers who do blogs and things like that for high schools or a college, but I want to see if I could be someone that could start a way or start something for younger athletes who are in like OBA leagues or anything like that, to be that voice for them and still broadcast them as well, because the kids matter, and they play well as well. And I just think that if we could broadcast these grown adults and athletes, I think it'd be awesome for me to do something for the youth. So that's something I'd want to do. And for women's basketball, I definitely think it has evolved over the years. Now we have the Toronto Temples. That's a big change for the city. I'm so excited to go to their first game, which is in May, and it definitely has changed. Especially Canada basketball has made a big impact on women's basketball. We've been having a lot of female athletes who are amazing. I know a few. I've played with a few of them, and it's great to see that like the city of Toronto is growing in a way where, especially in sports, because we had the Raptors, right? We had Canada basketball. It's good to see now we have Toronto Temple to just boost our women up, and now we could go to more games, and we could and they can get the showcase that they deserve. And I'm so happy that we have this now, and I just hope in the next few years, like for example, we have Hoop Queens as well, which is a female organization for female athletes, and they pay them, which is awesome. So the more we can get female athletes out there and get them pushed and getting them the same support as men, that's the goal. And I just hope that as the years go by, it will just continue to expand.
What are your thoughts on diversity in media? Do you find there's more women out there in journalism, and Black people too? Black women?
I would say no, and I would say that there are some Black females that I've actually had a mentor. For example, Camille Wilson. She worked for CTV. She is someone that I know that has tried so hard to get into this industry. She's graduated and everything, and I remember her telling me that, especially being a Black female like myself, we have to be very adamant. We have to be always reaching out and showing them how much we can help them with, and showing them how much we have to offer. Because when I was in my internship, for example, there's probably a good amount of girls, probably like 3 or 4 girls out of like 20 of us that were male, and the rest of them are male. There were a lot of male, and there wasn't a lot of Black, and so the diversity wasn't the best in there. There was probably like 2 Black females that were there, and I just hope that in like the next 5 to 10 years, or even now, that we can get more diversity in there. And I feel like a lot of people are or journalists like me that shy away from going to those industries because of the inclusivity. There's not much of us, and it makes us not want to go into those fields because we don't see much of us there. But I do see that there is some type of change coming, and even when it comes to applying for jobs, they ask us, "So, are you a Black American? Or are you Indigenous, or whatnot?" Right? But I do think that having that option though to press, depending on who's hiring, that's it's hard to know if you're gonna get accepted for that job or not, because maybe because I'm a black person, maybe that hiring manager probably won't want us. Who knows? But I do think that there will be change, and for someone like myself, it's good to have like a platform like yourself, like myself, or like you as well, just broadcasting yourself, and that way when you apply for jobs you could mention, I have my own platform, and they could see that the work that you do and that you really want this job. But I feel like for anyone that wants to aspire their dream, especially in journalism, it shouldn't be that hard. And so I just hope that it'll be easier for us, and that there'll be more opportunities. But I do think if you are someone that is my color and you're trying to get into the field of journalism, just do your own thing. Continue to apply to jobs. Continue to reach out to these managers. And when you have an internship, make those connections with them, because it's going to be very important and crucial for when you graduate and when you're looking for a job. It doesn't matter if you work with them in the summertime just for the internship. The next year around that time, you could probably reach out and you can get an opportunity. So, yeah.
With myself, how I got this broadcasting bug was through doing volunteer work
Mhm.
with the CBL's Guelph Nighthawks before they moved to Calgary.
Wow.
And doing volunteer work led me to doing camera work, and then to Rogers TV, and then to my own podcast show, and then reaching out to the other organizations. So the game of basketball and the CBL has had an impact on me. And I see you've done some volunteer work with the Scarborough Shooting Stars.
Yes, I work with CBL in the summertime. I got that opportunity because someone that I know knew that I was a journalist, and I think they were looking for someone to do content, short form content as well. And so they called me and they asked me to come in for an interview, and I did an internship there for the summertime. It was amazing. I made so many connections. I worked with the team. I did behind the scenes content for the team. So I did them like in the change room, getting ready, their pre-talk conversation, pre-game conversations. And then I did like post-game interviews with them. So I'd ask them how their game went, questions like, what do you think led to you guys' win? Why do you guys think you lost? What are some things you probably have to work on for next game? Things like that. So I asked them questions. I learned so much from that internship because I was put on the spot and I've had to just think about questions right there and then, and just hope for the best. And I did a great job. And I'll most likely be going back this summer as well to do the same thing, hopefully getting paid. But yes.
By the way, one of their announcers is a friend of mine who's been on my show, Rod Black, who's involved with the
Oh, really?
shooting
Nice.
stars as well.
Yeah.
Rod Black is really approachable. So if you do happen to see him, he's very approachable. And if you tell him that you're in media, tell him that you know me as well. And don't be afraid to ask him questions. He's a really good guy.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Yeah. See, the world's so small. It's so
It
small.
really is.
So many connections that you can make. Yes.
Just like me, I used to be 5'9", now I'm 5'6".
Really?
Yeah.
How? You shrunk.
Yes.
Wow.
I guess when you turn 50, that's what happens.
Oh, that makes
So,
sense.
but yeah, it's funny how you've been involved with CBL, and that's how I got my broadcasting bug in. I never done camera work before, and they actually showed me how to do camera work. And at the end of the game, they actually paid me for it, and then they kind of referred me to Rogers TV, and learning camera work kind of just got me a taste of the broadcasting bug and just being in the right place at the right time. So yeah, volunteering, internships, or like the Toronto Argonauts and a number of other professional sports teams have given me opportunities, and I just go in there. And you're going to make mistakes, but the only way you get better as a professional is to learn from your mistakes, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yes, so not being afraid to ask questions is an important thing, because you don't know who you are asking that question to. They could give you so much advice, and that one question could change so much about how you look at things, how you look about journalism and media. And so just me even responding to a question just that you just asked me, I learned something about you. So yeah, that's awesome.
And you want to build a rapport. Like when I was in security, I had to deal with people with mental health crisis, substance, and my job was to de-escalate and also build a rapport with them. And that's what I try to do on this show with all my guests. I want my guests to feel comfortable on here and open up. And Buck Martinez from Sportsnet gave me the best advice. Always make sure when you have guests on, whether it's virtually or in person, make sure they're talkers. Because Buck gave me a story about one of his first interviews. Harold Baines, who played for the Chicago White Sox, and he thought Harold would be an easy interview since he was a friend of his, and Harold did not like speaking on air. So you want to also make sure you do your homework and research on your guests, and you want to make sure they feel comfortable coming on your show.
That's actually very important too, because when I was learning in journalism too, like you said, talkers are very important because you rather have someone that over speaks than have someone that doesn't have a lot to say. And so I agree with that. And also too, like you were saying, having a talker and having someone and getting a report on someone, doing your research beforehand, because when you
Preparation.
preparation, doing and like one thing I did learn as well is when you get your research of that person beforehand and you say something to that person that you probably didn't think that you knew about, that makes them excited, that makes them want to speak more, and it makes them want to have that conversation with you because they're like, wow, you actually did your homework on me, you know what I mean? So yes, I agree.
I had a female boxer on my show a year and a half ago, 5-time women's champion, Mia St. John. And I just made the assumption, oh, okay, she's an athlete. She's a famous boxer. She'll come on and talk. And the first 35 minutes, she was kind of just not very comfortable or kind of not cool with me, but just wasn't really into it. And then I asked her one question and she opened right up the last 15 minutes of the show. So
Wow.
I built a rapport with her. So I've learned that too.
Yes, that's awesome. Yes, because sometimes they're just very shy initially, and then once you start getting going, they'll get more
Yeah.
comfortable. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the WNBA coming to Toronto as a Toronto Tempo, which I think will do great? And are you going to try to apply for some media credentials with them?
I think it's awesome. Like it's great to see women's basketball just being on the come up, especially in Toronto. And I like to see that they have a lot of female on the staff as well, and that's amazing because for the Toronto Raptors, we have I think it's a mix. And they're starting to do a lot more internships as well as bringing people, especially young females who played the sport, on their team. But I like that they are leading with female for the Toronto Tempo. And yes, I have applied to a few of their positions, but I'm looking to just keep applying, even if it's for an internship. And I hope that they have more opportunities to come up because that is something that I definitely want to work in, especially being a journalist. I would love to focus on sports and especially basketball, which is my favorite sport, and be a representative for the Tempo and just continue to help women's basketball and women's sports just be uplifted and yeah.
And people don't realize this too. And this was important for me specifically since I didn't go to broadcast journalism school. Any volunteer opportunities I can get, I take them because then everyone looks at the money aspect. The money aspect will come, but in order for you to get the money, you need to get the experience and the life skills.
Yes, I agree. And that's the thing. I've done so many internships and I do not back down from internships because I've learned so much, and then an internship can lead you to a job in another business and another industry as well, which you probably didn't even probably think of doing. For example, like PR. I did some PR with Scarborough Shooting Stars as well, and I was focusing on just doing journalism, but there's so many different connections in this in journalism and just in business marketing as well, which could all interconnect each other. So yeah, I agree. Just always just taking any volunteer opportunities can lead to so much more that you probably didn't expect.
Mahalia, are you okay for a few more minutes? Couple more questions?
Yeah, that's fine. No problem.
Okay, and I want to play one of your little videos, short videos on TikTok. How can people find you and follow you on TikTok?
Okay, so my name is Mahalia Long. My Instagram is LongStory Shorts TV. And you will see it's a black icon and it says LSTV on it in my picture. And I'm on TikTok as well, same thing, LongStoryShorts.tv. I'm also on YouTube, LongStoryShorts.tv. And my name is Mahalia Long on LinkedIn. You can see my portfolio. You'll see what I do, my reporter reels and whatnot. And yes, please give me a follow and a like and a view. If you don't want to follow, I'm still very appreciative of every view that I get.
Any plans for a website in the future?
Yes, I did have a website. I'm still working on it because I want to figure out what exactly how I'm going to do it and how to format it and stuff. But it is coming in the next month or so. So stay tuned for that. And I will also be doing writing. So I'll have some writing reports on there as well, not just video. And so that will be like more of a longer form content rather than just a 30-second video.
Okay, I'm going to play this clip right now. And please let me know if you can hear the audio. If not, we'll fire the audio guy, which is me. I wear 10 different hats literally on this show.
Okay.
1 second. And this is from the beer store. I thought it was a nice little clip here.
Our footprint in GTA is shrinking again. 4 more locations are set to close, adding to a growing list as beer sales expand into grocery and convenience stores across Ontario. The company says changing shopping habits and increased competition are behind the closures. For some communities, it means fewer nearby options and longer trips for returns and purchases. So where you buy your beer from in Ontario is changing, and the beer store is feeling it. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. For Long Story Short TV, I'm Mahalia Long. The beer store.
What are your thoughts on this video clip, and what are your thoughts on the beer store shrinking in Ontario?
So I chose this story to do because I understand that a lot of people do go to the beer store. A lot of people do like alcohol, and it has affected a lot of people. This is a story that I've done a countless amount of times, probably like 3 or 4 times, because there were so many closures just happening in the last year or two. And so it's definitely a topic that is ongoing. I do feel like this is I don't know how to feel about it, because I feel like the beer store made a lot of money, and I think a lot of people just like the concept of being able to go up the street to go to a beer store. Rather now, it's just, yes, you can go to the grocery store, but there's so many closures and a lot of people are not liking it. Although I do understand what they're doing, they're just trying to get people to make more money, and the grocery stores as well. But I'm not really someone that's really is a fan of it, I would say, because I'm not really an alcohol person, but I understand how much it affects people, and that's why I like to tell stories that affect a lot of people. And so this was this was a story that affected a lot of people, and I just wanted to get it out for people to understand that how much it's affecting, and how much Canada is changing, and how much Ontario is just taking away these stores, because that's 4 stores that were closing. And I think I made a report 2 weeks before that, and there was like 6 stores closing. So it's interesting, and I know that there's more to come, and it's good and I'm interested to see what is going to come now that there's no beer store. Bringing the cans back, was the beer store was a good place to do that, and a lot of people now have to travel further to go and bring their empty cans, and so that's a problem as well for a lot of people, because they don't want to always travel far, and going somewhere like a beer store while they're going to go buy beer and returning those cans was a nice process. And so that's kind of what the main issue is that I find.
Do you find the workforce in Ontario is shrinking, and also the newspaper industry as well is shrinking too?
Yes, I do think that it's shrinking. I think because a lot of people, especially older people, are still in these jobs, and the recession is so bad. It's hard to like the groceries going up, everything is expensive, and so a lot of people are working longer than I probably anticipated to work for. So the people who probably wanted to retire are not retiring yet because of how expensive things are. But also too, now the younger people who are graduating from school and want to get jobs, it's harder for them to get jobs, and they're not hiring as much. And also too, which kind of sucks, is now they put a mandate for a job. When you apply to a job, they have to respond to you within 30 days of a response, whether they are hiring you or not. I think that does help, because the thing is, a lot of people were applying to these jobs hoping that they would get a response, and they're not getting any response. So some of them would just leave it there and not even apply, or apply to more. Yeah,
I can relate. And the thing is too, these companies get upset when people who are offered jobs don't accept them and don't give back to them. And I find ghosting is on both sides. And
yeah.
if someone offers you a job and you've decided you don't want to take it, you need to, out of
Respond.
courtesy and respect, need to respond. Just like if a company doesn't hire you, they need to, out of courtesy, at least acknowledge you at the end.
Yes, I agree. I agree, and that works both ways. As long as the communication is there, you follow up, even if you don't hear back from a job, and they send you an email, follow up to say, okay, did you receive my application? Are you looking for people? Are you still hiring? If not, then yes, that exchange needs to happen in order for people to feel like, okay, I'm trying. You know what I mean? I'm applying to jobs. Now we got to apply to more, yes. So I agree.
Have you done any stories yet on shrinkflation where everything is getting smaller in size and more prices? Have you done that yet?
No, I did do a story on groceries and how much the price is inflating, but no, I haven't done one recently of just the size of things. I've noticed the difference myself, but that is something that I should do a story on. So thank you. I will do a story on that eventually.
And what are your thoughts on the GO train derailment from last Monday affecting the commuters for over a week?
That was it's a scary story because I feel like no one wants to be left on a train, especially when a derailment happens. It does happen often, so I think that there needs to be something just in place. Well, now they have it now where at least they'll get some money back. But I do think that there should be another way for this. If it means that they have to have another train come, or maybe something that can transport these people from waiting on the train so long, and while they fix this derailment, because it happens often and riders are not impressed by it. And yes, they can get a compensation for it or get their money back. But I also think that the way that they're doing it is too complicated for people. Like, no one wants to be stuck on a train for that long while the derailment is happening, and then have to report and send pictures and explain their story. I feel like there should be an easier process for that. Whether it mean they can get that money back to their account right away from that payment that or of that ride, rather than having to report it and doing all of that because they didn't ask for it. So I think that there should be an easier process for that, for getting their money back, because it's not fair to them.
Being independent freelance media, do you find people, these companies and businesses are open to talking to you, or do you find you really have to work hard to get your opportunities? I just wanted to get your perspective.
I definitely think that they're willing to talk to people as long as you pitch yourself and pitch what you do, and let them know why you do what you do, and reaching out, like we said, just reaching out to them. Many of these companies were definitely willing to speak to me or interview me, as long as they could see what I'm doing. They could see how much of an impact I'm making, especially in the journalism world. Yeah, I definitely think that they're willing to talk to me, but I think that a lot of the work is on the journalist too, and on the owner to make sure that they're reaching out and getting those connections as well.
How important is fact checking?
Fact checking is very, very important. First of all, we do not want misinformation, and that's a very important in journalism. Getting the wrong facts. That when I was in the industry of for example, City News, it was very important that we double fact check. So I'd have my own stuff that I researched. I'd have to get it double fact checked by online, right? And then I'd have to get my supervisor, and then my manager would have to approve of it. So it's very important that even when we're doing our own form, that we double check on multiple credible sources that the information is right. Because checking one source, for example, Wikipedia, not reliable. As like a lot of people can go on there and write their own things, right? Or even Google, sometimes they'll have someone that just writes anything about, for example, if I was to look up you, Chris Pame. So it's like, it's very important that we double fact check that person's social media as well, and making sure that this is who they are. If it's about something that's going on in the world, making sure that we have example like an actual examiner or a study person. So if we're doing a topic on the train, I would probably go to or try to find something that works in the GO train or at TTC that has that actual experience working with that, and double checking with them to make sure that that story is true, because that's a credible source. Someone that's actually working with them, has experience, knows exactly what the story is. So that's very important in journalism, especially.
thoughts on AI and some of these videos that look real and they're not. So that's another thing. AI can be a good tool, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I've seen a lot of fake news stories from AI.
Yes, I did so many stories about AI, especially in school. And one of the questions was, do you think that it's going to help journalism, or is it not going to help journalism? And I would say both. I feel like AI is a great tool in terms of helping you figure out guide, a guideline of how you should do your business, a guideline of how you should format just like an Excel sheet or anything that you have planned, or a jot notes, how to format it in a way where it's easier to understand for some people. But I would say, in terms of content and journalism, I do not agree with using AI to make up a story. I do not agree with AI getting all these videos and making it look fake. And the thing is, it's so scary because it looks so real, and a lot of people believe it, especially older people. Like, I find my grandparents, they see a video of AI and they say, "Oh, did you see this?" And it's like, I have to explain to them that AI it looks real, but you could see that it's fake, and a lot of the time they'll say it's AI generated on many things as well. I do think that it could help journalism in a lot of ways, but it can't tell voices. It can't evoke emotion. It can't tell people how to feel. It's not going to give that same emotion and evoke of emotion that you would get from hearing a voice, for hearing someone tell a story, right? So I don't think it's the best, but I do think it could help in many ways.
Mahalia, as we wrap this show up, what have been some of your most memorable stories you've covered so far at Long Story Shorts TV?
So I would say 100%. My TTC video that I've done, it got a lot of attention on TikTok. It was about the enforcement, the TTC enforcement that they're having, the police enforcement that they're going to have, and basically is, once you go in the transit, they're going to make sure that you're paying for your fare, and they'll check to make sure that you're paying for it. That was a really good story that I had, because it was a time where people were, I think it was summertime, and a lot of people were using the bus, and they changed their name, and a lot of the people who were, or the riders, I would say, were like complaining about it, saying that we don't need that. A lot of people were paying their fares. Why are they focusing on the wrong things? They're talking about how much it matters for them to be focusing on how long the train's going to take, and not worrying about our fare. So that was a good story that I done. Also, too, my weather reports that I do get a lot of attention, because people care about weather. People care about how cold it is. As we could see, that it's been the coldest winter in many years, and we spoke about that as well. And so those have been my most attractive videos, I would say, that I love doing, because weather matters. People care about weather and how much it could affect their day, how much it could affect their travel to work. And yeah, so that's very important. And those are the ones I've felt were the most memorable.
What are some current stories that you're working on? Are you able to share with us a little bit?
Yeah, I'm currently working on the 2026 Winter Olympic stories. So, as we know, Canada has won a few things, especially in skating, and so I'm going to do some reports on that. Definitely weather. The weather is easing up a little bit, so we're going to be focusing on that a bit. And I hope people are looking forward to the weather about to be getting, because it is still going to be cold, but the cold is going to be easing up a bit. So that's a plus. And so those are the few things I'll be working on this week. Yes.
This winter is like what I grew up with in the 70s and 80s. This is kind of an old school winter.
Old school winter. Yes, that's what they're calling it, right?
When I was a kid, my dad had a backyard rink for me for the whole winter. For 4 months, I could skate in my backyard and play hockey because it was consistently cold for those 4 or 5 months. And I remember you going trick or treating in October where it was snow too. So this is kind of like, it seems like the older I get, everything goes back to retro.
Right. It does. And that goes with anything. Like, a lot of the things, a lot of the trends are like older, like old school, and we're just bringing it back now. So, like the weather.
Look for me to do some roller skating. I haven't done roller skating since 1981, and they have a roller skate rink in Kitchener. So I'm going to do a content of me getting back on roller blades or roller skates again after 44 years. Yeah,
that would be a nice series, and bringing people along with that. Be like, day one, trying to get back to roller skating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to create content. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about booking guests, promoting
Yes.
my show, and creating content. And I can tell how passionate you are as well.
Yes, I love doing what I do, and I can see that you love doing it as well. It's a good thing. Talking to people that you probably never spoke to before, but hearing their story, that changes a lot about how you look at anything in life. And like there's always something that you could learn from someone. I learned from you. You've probably learned from me, and there's so much that we could learn from each other by just having that conversation. So yes,
This technology really does shrink the world down, doesn't it?
yes, it does. It does.
And I had a guest on last week from Malaysia, which is
Wow.
9,235 miles away, 13 hours ahead of us. And the temperature there was 95 degrees where it was minus 20 here. So it's just this technology is amazing, isn't it?
It's awesome. Like it's so crazy how we can connect with people across the world by just a phone call or by just
Yeah,
StreamYard that we're using right here.
absolutely. And as we wrap this show up, Mahalia, what are some fun facts or a fun fact about yourself and Long Story Shorts TV?
Okay, so a fun fact about myself. I actually know sign language. Yeah, my oldest brother is deaf. So I do want to incorporate sign language soon in Long Story Shorts videos. And that way I can reach a bigger crowd, especially people who are deaf and are hard of hearing who know sign language and I would want to understand what I'm saying. Yes, I do have subtitles, but I think it would definitely be awesome to have that. Another fun fact, I'm a twin. I have a twin sister, and yeah, I have 9 siblings as well. So I'm a big family, and I'm definitely a family-oriented person, and I'm just happy to just be that stepping stone for a lot of my siblings. And yeah, that's me.
Is your twin interested in media too?
No, she's
No.
not. She's actually a cook. She likes to like she's a chef, and she works with kids though. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of cooking and food, what are your favorite foods?
Favorite foods? Every time I get asked this question, I say something different, I think. 'Cause I don't really think I have a favorite for real, but I would say I love macaroni pie. And I love chicken. So anything that's to do with chicken, I love jerk chicken, curry chicken. So yeah,
Barbecue sauce or no?
barbecue sauce, yes.
Okay. And what about dessert? Since we're talking about food, you have a favorite dessert?
Dessert, I love crepes. I love a crepe. I'll have like a strawberry banana Nutella crepe. That's my favorite. With some ice cream, and my favorite ice cream is cookie dough.
Cookie dough or moose track? What's next on your bucket list?
Next on my bucket list, I do want to do an event, a long story short TV event, and probably like have other journalists as well and do like a panel. And so that's my next thing I want to focus on. Um, yeah, and so now it says ask you a question. So, Chris, what is something that you have experienced through your journalism career? I know that you said you started it or you started focusing on this more um, in your older ages. What's something that you would tell someone that's younger that feels like it's too late to start?
Never too late to start and find your passion. Find your passion. Be willing to work hard. Be willing to learn, willing to take feedback, and you have to reach out to people. And sometimes people say no or they don't respond back to you. You can't learn to take it personally as well. And also, when you do have your successes, I recently had a media pass for the NFL draft in Detroit 2 years ago, and I actually had one for the Super Bowl last night. But the reason I didn't go to the Super Bowl this year, I had to make a decision. I didn't feel politically comfortable going over there. So I know people think I'm crazy for passing up a Super Bowl media opportunity. That's once in a lifetime. But I made a decision that was best for me. And sometimes in media and any career, you got to make tough decisions and you have to do what's best for you
I
And I
agree.
felt in this case it was better for me to stay home than to go into another without getting into politics. Going into a country where there's a lot of unrest. So I thank the NFL, and I'm hoping to get more opportunities in the future. But sometimes you're just going to make a decision that's hard. But I just try to tell the young people, just it's not just talent. You got to work hard. You got to be willing to learn and take feedback too. And you got to reach out to people. And sometimes you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and you just got to
Yes.
not take it personal.
Yes, I agree. That was a great word. Thank you for that. And I feel like that would impact so many up and coming journalists, up and coming people who have their own businesses that just need that push and just are wondering how people get through it. So, yes, thank you for that. That was awesome.
And by the way, when I was in security too, I used to have this perception when I worked in security, all the younger generation are lazy, they don't have any goals or whatever. Soon as I get out of that career and started this 6 years ago, a lot of the young people have been really supportive of what I'm doing. They don't care about my age. They just ask me about my life experience and skills, and they treat me like one of them. They don't really care if
Yeah,
I went to school or not. Don't get me wrong, the schooling is important too, but I'm doing this the old school traditional way. But the younger generation really in the media industry have been really great with me. And I really enjoy working with them. And I think they have a lot to offer me, and I have a lot to offer them.
I agree. And it is like we were saying, age does not matter. You could be whatever age, as long as you're willing to learn from anyone, because you could learn from an older person, you could learn from a younger person. So I think that's
Yeah,
very important that we have that mindset and just remains humble. So yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have an open invite to come back on my show again in the future.
Of course, I would definitely be glad to come back, and maybe we could do like a nice series of like questions for both of us. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And
Like
I'm
yes,
in Toronto, and
questions.
I'm in and I'm in Toronto quite often in the summertime for the Toronto Argonauts. So hopefully, maybe I'll run into you in Toronto
Okay, and I
at
can
some
probably
point.
have you on my panel or that event that I'm
Yeah.
hosting in Toronto.
Yes.
Hopefully in the summertime. It'll be an honor to have you on it. That'd be
Well,
great.
thank you so much. And as
Yes.
we wrap this show up, Mahalia, where can our audience again follow you on social media? Obviously, your website is in progress, and how can they follow Long Story Shorts TV?
So my name is Mahalia Long. Again, you can find me on Long Story Shorts TV. It's shorts with an S, and it's on TikTok, it's on Instagram, and on YouTube. And also, if you use the hashtag Long Story Short Hails, which is HAILS, which is my nickname, you will see all my videos. If you cannot find my name, you could just search Long Story Short Hails on hashtags, and you will see all my videos that I have. And I just hope you guys can watch more of my content, and I'm happy to have you guys, and I'm happy to have every view that I have. So thank you.
And your stories, what site are they on? Your stories that you write?
Uh, the stories that I write, I don't have any stories on my website yet. I don't have the
Okay.
website, but they will be on the Long Story Shorts website that I have, and you will be able to see my videos and also the writing.
Well, Mahalia, I want to say thank you so much for giving us over an hour. I apologize for keeping you over 45 minutes,
It's
but
all good.
an hour conversation just flies by. So I want to
Yes.
say thank you for giving us an hour of your time. Continued success in your media journalism, freelance media career, and hopefully we can keep in touch. And give me a little bit of time this afternoon, and I'll send you the video, the audio, and I will edit this into reels and clips. I had to learn how to edit video a couple years ago during Christmas. It took me 8, 9 hours to figure it out, but it's something now I really enjoy doing it for my
No
shows and my
problem.
guests.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I've learned so much about you, and I thank you for all the advice and input that you had on Long Story Short.
We'll definitely keep in touch, and we'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Chris. See you soon.
Have a great afternoon and stay warm.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone, that wraps up season 12, episode 55, overall 660 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, or give them a call at 519-824-0210, or email them at info@barrycullen.com as well. And I want to give a shout out to GM Canada for their great customer service. I've been with GM Canada for 26 years. So thank you to GM Canada for their great customer service, and to Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph for being a part of this show as a sponsor and advertiser, and buying my vehicles there. So if you're looking to buy a new or a pre-owned vehicle, consider Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership here in Guelph, which has been family run and operated in Guelph since 1969. And the Cullen family does a really great job with their products and with their customer service as well. So again, if you're looking for a vehicle, check out Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership here in Guelph. As we wrap up the show, guys, the next Small Talk podcast, which is a postponed show with co-host Chris Palma and Marlene Sharp, is going to take place Tuesday, February 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern with her special guests, Bethany Shelton and Sharon Clark from the Holy Shift Balls podcast. This show was originally scheduled for Tuesday, January 27th, 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately there was a glitch with StreamYard.com and Marlene, my co-host, couldn't get on. So Small Talk podcast, the season 4, episode 1 premiere for 2026 will take place tomorrow night, Tuesday, February 10th at 8 p.m. with special guests Bethany Shelton and Sharon Clark from the Holy Shift Balls podcast as well. And I do have a couple more live with CDP Sports and Entertainment talk shows this week. I have a show, the next live with CDP Sports and Entertainment talk show will take place this Thursday at 12 p.m. with a guest to be announced, which will be confirmed soon. And then this Friday coming up at 3 o'clock, I have actress, talent scout, evaluator Robin Huffman coming on my show as well. So I've got a couple more live with CDP shows this week and the Small Talk podcast as well. Speaking of that, if you have a unique story or a career you'd like to share on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show or the Small Talk podcast, you can email me at cpalme19@gmail.com. We'd love to have you on as a guest. And then also, if you're a business and you're looking to advertise on live stream platforms such as myself, check out CDP Media Productions. Again, you can email me at cpalme19@gmail.com. My prices are reasonable and fair compared to traditional radio, and my show is on 21 platforms, both video and audio forms as well. And I do have listeners in 71 countries around the world and over 10,000 listens on Spotify and 645,000 views on my YouTube channel. So if you're looking to advertise, consider Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show and the Small Talk podcast as well. And again, I want to say thank you to my guest today, Mahalia Long, a 23-year-old journalist, storyteller, and former collegiate basketball player, and now the founder of LongStory Shorts TV, for coming on today as a guest. I hope everybody has a great day. I am off to the Cambridge District Community Society to walk some dogs. And speaking of the Cambridge District Community Society, again, they're located at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0. And all the pets and animals that are up for adoption, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone watching this live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X, Instagram, and Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show is on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available. So I hope everybody has a great Monday. And again, Super Bowl 60, Seattle wins 29-13 over New England. Kenneth Walker is the MVP, and Seattle wins their second Super Bowl. And New England's Cinderella season ended, and Drake May had a rough game, being sacked 6 times and turning the ball over 3 times as well. And as we wrap this up, I got my Detroit Pistons hat on tonight. The Pistons are on the road for the next 4 games, and they are in Charlotte tonight to take on the Charlotte Hornets. Pistons and Hornets tonight, 7 p.m. tip-off from Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, thank you to Mahalia Long for coming on here from LongStory Shorts TV. And I want to say thank you to everyone watching and listening to this show. And of course, to our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership. Have a great afternoon, everybody. And we'll see you back here Tuesday, February 10th, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. for the Small Talk premiere of 2026 with Marlene Sharp and Chris Palme.